Coffee Chats. My name is Lindsay Giese, and I'm the Executive Director for River Arts, Inc. And today I am joined by Andrea Wyttenbach Gavol of Mueller Sports Medicine. I should add on that title, but everyone just knows you. Like, it's Andrea.
For sure. It's like Cher or Madonna.
So, yes, it is. Cheers.
Cheers.
For joining me today. I have some good questions for you.
Okay, I can't even wait.
I got some, I reached out to the public and I got a few questions, and but I also have some burning questions of my own. So
okay, awesome. That sounds amazing.
Right. I do like to start, if you in your own words could give us a little bit of background about yourself, that'd be great.
Certainly. So I am a Sauk Prairie resident, born and raised. I went to college at UW La Crosse with the intention of being an athletic trainer, but then I changed courses about midway through my undergrad year. And I changed my major to sports management, which is basically any sport-related business. So I was fortunate to have a sport-related business right in my hometown. So I started working at Mueller my last couple of years of college. That's where I did my internship, and I worked for about a year after I graduated. And then I decided that I should go somewhere where I didn't know anybody. So I got a job in Green Bay for obvious reasons, because there is a team that I really, really love that's out of Green Bay as well. So I moved to Green Bay, and lo and behold, about 3 months after I moved up there, my husband and I started dating, and he's originally from Sauk Prairie. So I had the grand plan, because I love Sauk Prairie. I love the community. I love the location. I love the school district. So in about 5 or 10 years, my plan was to move back here, establish a family, not exactly sure, but my husband and I started dating, and long story short, a year and a half later, I moved back to the Sauk Prairie area. I started working at Mueller again, and I've been there now for over 20 years. So a total combined 23 years that I've been at Mueller. But yeah, just love the Sauk Prairie community and all it has to offer.
Oh my goodness. I did know about your love for Green Bay, so I was strategic in my attire today.
Well played, well played.
I'm a little impressed that I own an athletic sweatshirt.
I like it. I like it. Some people are always like, when they need it for like something at work, they're like, Andrea, can we borrow a Green Bay Packers sweatshirt? I'm like, seriously, people don't have a Green Bay Packers sweatshirt.
But it is a staple. You have to have it.
Right, but some people don't, and I guess that's okay. I don't judge them, but I will let them borrow mine just to make sure they represent.
Do you think that you would have married John if he didn't also love the Packers? Like, is that a deal breaker for you?
It actually is. I mean, I've discussed that I probably couldn't marry somebody I could probably marry somebody who maybe wasn't a fan, but I probably couldn't marry somebody who was not a Packer fan. So yeah, it kind of is a deal breaker. So it worked out well for him, I think.
Mm-hmm. What would have been worse if he was a Viking or a Bears fan?
I actually think right now it would be a Viking fan. But it could flip-flop. It just depends. Like, the Bears are doing better this year, but I do have a more tolerance for Bears than Viking fans. But
okay, this is good to know. I'm going to jump around a little bit with my questions, but since we're on the topic of the Packers, I do believe there's a story there involving your wedding.
Correct. I was married. John and I were married at Lambeau Field, and I wore a black wedding dress. So we were married in February, so we weren't married on the field, but they have an atrium that we had the ceremony, that was our reception, and our dance was all right there. So so we had a small scale destination wedding.
That's crazy. I didn't even know you could get married there. Like, do they do that often?
Yeah, actually, so we've been married, it'll be 17 years in February. So right then they did a stadium renovation where they had, they actually have meeting rooms and things like that. So they had just started to open that up to the public where you could rent out rooms for meetings or gatherings or weddings. So we were technically the first to be married in the atrium area. So it was great. It was perfect. I couldn't have dreamed of a better wedding.
Wow. So you wore a black dress. What did John wear?
John wore a black tux, so our colors were, it's a fine line with me. I mean, I would wear Green Bay Packers stuff every day, but I try to, get out of my element wearing my favorite color, black. So that's today. Anyway, he wore a black tux, so our colors were Sauk Prairie colors, actually, black and red.
Ah, look at you.
Yeah.
You were meant to be here, and like, how crazy. Maybe it's not crazy to you, but yeah, that the career path you wanted, and then the job, like a dream job, really, it sounds like right here in your hometown. It's crazy.
It really worked out.
Look at you. Good for you. Um, you did like already, like your summary was so good. You checked off some of my questions. Oh, but uh, many people may know your parents, Fritz and Ginny.
Yes.
And that, and like most of us here in Sauk County or the Sauk Prairie rural area grew up on farms. And so you were a farm girl. Tell me about that. What was your forte on the farm and what were you really bad at?
So my forte was actually getting out of farm work because I have two younger brothers. So I have my brother Mark's 2 years younger than me, and my brother Craig is 4 years younger than me. And my brother Mark actually farms with my dad currently. So they always really liked doing farm work and just were better at it. So I did, I was lucky to not have to do a lot, but I have the utmost respect for farmers and their hard work and farm kids, and just their work ethic is amazing. So a lot of times my mom worked in the schools when we were growing up, and she would have to go back to school, and then she'd say, you need to make your dad and your brothers lunch when they come in. And I was like, I mean, gender roles is an issue with me sometimes. So I'm like, they can make their own lunch because they are grown adults and they can do that. So anyway, yeah, but I mean, I did help a little. Sometimes we would have to go out in the mornings and feed hay to the cattle that were out in the field, things like that. But I was lucky that they loved it. They were really good at it. My brothers loved driving tractors. So yeah.
That's good. I lived on a farm till I was 9, but I like my involvement was basically like when the pigs were being born, I would come down to the barn because I wanted to see the little piglets, and then I would maybe hold a little piglet and then bye.
Right.
Back out of the barn. So that was it.
Yeah.
But I also agreed. Lots of respect. It's hard work.
It is.
They're hard workers.
And it is not a 9 to 5 and 8 to 5. I mean, there's no hours, and there's always something that needs to be done. And yeah, so yeah.
And they're very important.
They are.
All of us. I have known you for many years, and Mueller has been a supporter of River Arts Inc. So thank you, appreciate that. But I really got to like dig in and get to know you a little bit better when you agreed to do Sauk Prairie Dancing with the Stars. It was about a year and a half ago. which I can't believe already.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What was your first thought when I asked you to participate in that?
My first thought was, I love dancing, but I'm more like the wedding dancer, like just the spazzy, like if you feel it, just start moving. So I had never had any organized dance classes. So I was like, no way, this is so out of my wheelhouse. I mean, which Tony and I have discussed, I am bad at following, because all the men I have ever known are just kind of bad dancers and don't know how to dance. So I always take the lead, because otherwise everyone's stepping on each other's feet. So that was hard for me. But the biggest thing was my kids were so excited for me, and they so wanted me to take this opportunity and do it. And there's so many chances, or not many chances, when you're an adult, when you're the parent, for your kids to be the cheerleader. So you're constantly their cheerleader, whether it's at school or in some, musical performance or a sporting event. So you are constantly behind them and their cheerleader, and they don't get that opportunity to reciprocate. So that was the big thing, where just living through the excitement of my children. And my daughter actually went to a lot of my practices with me, with another friend of ours who is an awesome dancer, to help just break things down. So that's the reason I did it, is just because they were so excited, and living vicariously through them. They were just, they loved the whole experience. They had all of their friends to the performances, and it was kind of a big deal. So that was what really drove me to do it.
And then I'm sure the competitive nature must have kicked in, because you won.
Yeah, I'm extremely competitive. So I just can't turn it off. I can turn it off when I coach my children's teams and they lose and things don't go right. I can say the right things, and I really don't take it personally, and I don't, it doesn't have to be winning all the time. But when it involves me, I can't turn that off. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my son had a bunch of friends there at the evening performance, and when I won, he actually said this was the best day of his life. So just in the pictures, so between the performances and when the professionals actually performed, we would go out into the lobby area, and so I have pictures from that night with my kids and all of their friends that were there. So that was awesome. So
I love that about that event. So I'll be excited when we can host another one again in the future. So stay tuned, Stock Prairie.
Agree.
But so I know for sure your daughter dances and is, I guess, artistically inclined. Does your son do anything in that area too, or like where did your daughter get that talent from? If is it John?
For sure, for sure. No, John, yeah, John is very much like my son. Doesn't like the limelight, doesn't like to be the center of attention, would actually prefer nobody knows who he is. And my son is like that too, but my son is very creative. So he is artistic. Both my children are left-handers. But he definitely has the creative kind of side. And yeah, my daughter loves performing. She loves being on center stage. And it was hard for me because basketball is my very favorite sport. So she decided last year that was going to be her last year to play basketball. So, which crushed me because I had always coached her basketball teams and my son's basketball teams. But when I see her up like on the show choir stage, she just lights up. And I'm like, that's where she's meant to be. And that's what's important. A lot of times parents drive, you live vicariously through your children if there's an opportunity that you had that you want them to have, or maybe something that you didn't quite live out like you wanted to, but you have to let them, blaze their own path. So, yeah. So he is in his own way. He did take some dance classes through Sherry Shad, like when he was younger, did a little hip hop, which I'm like, there's nothing wrong with a guy knowing how to dance. So he has done some of that and just trying new things. They're both up for. They both did, were in the band for a couple years, like 5th through, I think, 7th grade. So they have a little bit of that.
I love that. I love how kids are willing to, like, they try a bunch of things, and that's great. And as adults, I think we do lose that a little bit. So good for you for dancing. Also, you participated in the Stock Prairie lip syncs that we hosted, both of them, and blew me away. I feel like there's no like halfway. Like you go for it, and that is admirable.
It is. That is my mantra, and it always has been. If you're going to do it right. I mean, there is no halfway. If I'm in, I'm in, like all the way in. So that was another one where it was just fun to get especially the first one where we were in quarantine and, like it was something to look forward to. The kids helped film it, and just having fun is huge for me. So that was just a riot. I mean, the first one especially could not get it filmed without cracking up. So, the second one in the summer, could be a little more stoic and get it together because I kind of knew the thing, but yeah.
And then I heard that your daughter like then wanted to do a lip sync like with her friends and stuff at school. So it was like another thing where you mirrored your artistic stuff.
Yes, it's spun off. Jennifer Goldsvig Dunn actually, kind of helped them coordinate something with the middle school, and she kind of spun it off our lip sync. So that was a perfect way to get some people involved.
I love that. My last creative kind of question is, did you do any musicals or plays or other things when you were younger?
So I was in 4-H when I was younger, and we did a few plays like that. Just living out in the country was hard, and my mom was home with us and not able to get us to a lot of things, and there just weren't as many opportunities as there are now. I mean, our kids are so busy, which is great. It's a fine line. But yeah, at 4-H we did a couple plays, but nothing really, like I didn't take dance lessons or anything like that.
Yeah, I could see you really being a very strong actress. Maybe that'll be the next thing we try out.
You just don't know.
Now I'm switching gears a little bit. What is your favorite holiday?
Jeez. My favorite holiday, I mean, I do love Halloween because I loved, like when way back, it used to be Trick or Treat on Water Street. And then it used to be the Halloween happenings at the community center. And our family would dress up in like themed costumes. So we were Scooby-Doo, we were Kiss, we were Wizard of Oz. So that to me was fun. Just like a big thing that the whole entire family looked forward to, and our kids were willing to do it, and John was willing to do it. So that was awesome. But I probably would say Christmas, just, like the lights, the getting together with people, just everyone's like spirit for Christmas is, it's kind of unmatched. I wish that would last, all year through, but it unfortunately does not. But yeah, just how happy people are around the Christmas season. And I do like a little snow with some sparkly lights, but then it can go away.
Yep, I agree. What would you say was your favorite Halloween costume ever of all time?
I'm gonna have to say Kiss. Like, so we did Scooby-Doo like the first year as a theme, and it's because my daughter was a big Scooby-Doo fan and she just loved Daphne. So my son was young enough, he didn't know what was going on. Actually, the very first year when my son was one, his name is Sebastian. So he was Sebastian the Crab and Cassie was Ariel from the Disney. So it's just the two of them. But then when we did Kiss, that was really game on. I mean, the full face makeup, except for Sebastian's costume, his was purchased, but everything else we put together on our own. That to me was kind of the launching pad for the ones that followed.
With this year being different and Christmas being one of your favorite holidays, are you going to do anything differently? Like, are you going to decorate earlier and just go for it, or?
I'm not sure because we always get a real tree, so we have to take that into consideration. And then my birthday is my favorite holiday. I should have said that. My birthday is in January. So it's a prerequisite that the tree and all the Christmas decorations stay up past my birthday. So there's that. So I have to take that into account where, mine stay up longer than most people's do. So maybe a little bit earlier, but we have to factor in the other back end.
Mm-hmm. This is probably going to be maybe not a tough question, but what is your favorite sport?
Well, my favorite sport to watch is, actually I will say my favorite sport to watch is anything my kids are participating in. Like, I never thought I would like watching my kids run cross country, but I love it. So anything they participate in, I just love it. I love them out there having fun, trying their best, being part of a team. That's awesome. Like televised sport would be professional football, of course. Favorite sport to play was always growing up was basketball. That was my favorite sport. Now I would say in the current world, my favorite sport to play is pickleball. I play a ton of pickleball. So
yeah, I played that once. It is fun. I gotta say.
It is fun.
Who do you think is the best pickleball player in all of Sauk Prairie?
My husband would want to say it's him because he has kind of staked that claim, but it's hard telling. Everyone has like a different element to their game. Some are more finesse players. Some are just stronger players that just hit the ball hard. So I'm just going to be politically correct and not answer the question.
Okay, that's fair. What is the most embarrassing thing you've done to your kids?
I'm sure they'd say, I mean, they're embarrassed constantly. I don't even know. I can't even pick something out. I just, again, if you can't joke around and take a joke in our household, you're not going to survive long. So whether it's pulling up to the middle school line at dropout off with my windows rolled down and the sunroof open and some like crazy 80s song cranking and the kids like cannot get out of the car fast enough, or just being silly around their friends and making a scene and embarrassing them. I can't pick one thing out because I'm sure there's on a day-to-day basis there's one thing each day that embarrasses them. So
can you think of an embarrassing moment, like something that your parents did to you?
Not really. My parents, I mean, my dad is a jokester, but I can't, like, nothing sticks in my head. He would always joke to one of my brothers that he was adopted and came over, like they ordered a puppy and he was delivered. So things like that. But as like fully embarrassing, I don't know.
Okay. It is yet to come.
It probably is. Or maybe I've just repressed it. I'm sure it's there somewhere. I just can't recollect right now.
Oh my gosh. What would you say is the biggest difference between your mom and dad, between Fritz and Jenny?
So for the longest time, I thought my mom would just get my mom is the organizer and the planner, and she'd get stressed out. And I'm like, my dad is always the figurehead. My dad, is the one, the presence in the community, the one kind of, the front runner. But I realized why she's so stressed out is because my dad is the master like planner, but she's the one behind the scenes having to execute it all. So he comes up with all these crazy ideas and my mom's actually behind the scenes working to get it done. So, but younger, I didn't realize that. I'm just like, why is mom so stressed out? Like dad's the one doing all this stuff, and that is not true. So they make a wonderful, just a partnership in working together, whether my mom likes it or not. She's roped in for the long haul.
That's a good partnership, like for a couple, but, and like also like I think about that for the work that I do. Like I feel like I'm like the executor of a lot of other people are bigger dreamers, and they come
Right.
up with really cool ideas that I feel like I have an okay imagination, but I don't go as far as they go. But then I know how to like, I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and then I can do it. So I think you need both of those minds for success.
I would agree. Yeah, my dad, I am always amazed at his creativity because he does not know how to use a computer. So everything he comes up with, for example, like golf outing games are just from his head. Like this is not Google driven. They do say, you know, like Google and the technology age has ruined creativity, which I get because it just kind of stymies their thought process. But my dad, you know, isn't stymied by that because he doesn't know how to use it. So yeah, it's just amazing what is in his head. And then it's amazing what my mom will get on board to help him.
Would you say then that you're the dreamer or the executor? Like, what role are you?
I'm a little bit of both. Like my husband right from the start is like, hey, I'm not your mom. Like I'm not going to get on board with some of this stuff. And I appreciate that because he shouldn't have to. Like if you're not willing to be that piece, then you shouldn't have to. He does a lot to help get things to the finish line, but I'm a little bit of both. I'm a doer. I don't like to talk about things a lot, but I do like the big ideas, coming up with the out of the box things. So I don't know, maybe I'm a hybrid.
Your food decorations, like those are crazy. Did those like you come up with, or do you like you have a Pinterest board of all these like cool snack ideas?
So that started with my kids when they went to preschool. You had to bring a snack, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make something. You know, I'm not gonna be the mom that brings a gallon of chocolate milk and a bag of pretzels. Like I just wanted to do something a little extra. Well, that was creating a monster because then my son was in, so my daughter went to kindergarten, and then her class, you just gave money to contribute to the snacks. So you didn't have to bring snacks. So then my son started preschool, and I was one of the first to make snacks because I had been through this before. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is a mess. Like I got myself really in deep here. And Kathy says to Sebastian, oh, Sebastian, you just wait. Mom makes the best snacks. So from then on out, it was locked in. Like, they just always really appreciated something different, and it was a way to get the kids to eat fruits and vegetables, because if you made it fun, then they actually wanted to do it. So yeah, that's how that all came about. A lot of it, they have something in mind what they want to make. They have a theme, so sometimes they have to just try to come up with it, but other times it is easy to find something. I'm not very good on Pinterest and putting boards together, but you know, I do use it as a search engine, so that or Google, I would find something to make. So
I don't know if this was recent, but I just saw it. Like you had like a bunch of different peppers that looked like they were puking out different dips.
yes, we for Halloween, I always do what's called a spooky supper, and even though my kids are 12 and 15, they still look forward to it. So each and every time I try to come up with something different. So we did tacos that night. So yes, the salsa, the guacamole, and the sour cream were all being puked out of peppers.
I loved it. So cute.
Yeah.
So some of these next questions, actually, I reached out to Jeremy Gisicki, and because I know he knows you very well, and so some of these are coming from him. So you can thank him, or I don't think you're going to be mad at him for any of these. They're very thoughtful.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah. The first one is, what is it about Sauk Prairie that you enjoy the most?
Actually, that's an easy one. Okay, I'm not married to Jeremy yet. What I enjoy about Sauk Prairie is just the sense of community. I love how everyone's willing to have each other's back or help out. Any call to action or any need, Sauk Prairie is just unbelievable with how they will help out. Whether it's a farmer who needs help in their fields, or a business who, you know, had a shutdown for some reason and, you know, only has like a carryout option, how Sauk Prairie rallies behind the people in their community. That's what I love the best.
Yeah. Yeah. And he put that in there. Like he actually said that you would have so much to say because you just really love Sauk Prairie. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite annual activity in Sauk Prairie?
In Sauk Prairie?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard.
I know.
I mean, we love using the Great Sauk Trail. We, you know, like we love biking, getting out, being able to, I mean, it's right here, but it feels it's so peaceful and serene to just get away and go for a quick ride or walk and enjoy that. And like just last week, we were watching my son play soccer, and he was down at Riverfront, and we're just like, wow, you just don't realize the beauty that's here. So I can't pinpoint like just an annual thing that we absolutely love, but just being able to utilize all the amenities, and half the time you just take for granted what we have too. So
Yeah, agreed. Jeremy also wanted to know, so we've talked about your love of the Green Bay Packers. That's no secret. And a supporter of athletics in general in the community. So he wanted me to ask, how satisfying is it to be able to work in this community, but also for a company that serves athletes and athletic trainers?
it really is the kind of the mold of a perfect scenario. I mean, I love sports is my thing. It always has been, and that just really drives me. So being able to work for a company in that sports related field really brings it all together. And the fact is, like, growing up, I didn't actually know what Mueller Sports Medicine was. I knew it was a building that I always knew where it was, and I knew they gave out a ton of quench gum at all the parades, but I didn't know what they really stood for. So being able to work for a company that is not only a statewide or a nationwide, but is a worldwide distributor of products is pretty impressive out of little Prairie Dancing, Wisconsin.
Tell me about this quench gum.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. How did that come about? Why is that such a big thing? Is that like the gum of athletes? Like, what? Tell me about quench.
So it came about in the 70s. It's just a thirst quenching gum. I mean, the big kind of knock on quench is that the flavor doesn't last long, but the whole intention of quench is not to. It's supposed to make your mouth water. So in maybe a sporting event where you don't want to drink a ton of water, I mean, of course, you're going to have to drink some water and you want to stay hydrated, but you don't want to drink like a whole gallon because it's sloshing around and you're trying to run and compete. It helps keep your, helps keep some fluids in your mouth. So yeah, it came about in the 70s, and now we're really kind of stuck in a spot where we're trying to reinvent quench because there's a lot of things that came into the market, whether it's, a Gatorade product or some other hydration product, but there's still a lot of nostalgia for quench gum. Just everyone's like, oh, that's still around. So there'll be a resurgence, everyone. Get ready.
Yep, I'm ready. Kurt Mueller, who's obviously an icon in the sports medicine industry. And I know you have so many wonderful things to share about him. But what is like the first pearl of wisdom that comes to mind from Kurt?
His whole thing is just work hard, play hard. So that was the big thing. Like, so at Mueller, we don't have a dress code because Kurt was just a big believer in you have to be comfortable in order to get the best, most productivity out of you. So, I mean, of course, if we're dealing with customers or we have visitors come in, everyone, like dresses up. But there are days where I'm in jeans and a sweatshirt and I'm out running errands and people are like, you don't have to work today? I'm like, yeah, I'm working. Like, and it was before we would be working from home. It's like, this is what I get to wear to work. So yeah, just the whole adage, work hard, play hard. I mean, and that's how he lived his life, and that's how he, ran his company. So it was great. There's high expectations, but then there's also rewards for making that happen.
Nice. With everything happening with COVID, what do you think he might say to businesses and business owners in Sauk Prairie right now?
His big thing was just never give up. I mean, he just persevered. He was one time and time again, the odds were stacked against him, but he just kept chipping away. He actually loved the challenge when somebody said he couldn't do something. So just kind of take that adage. And I mean, I know it's hard and it was hard for him, but when he saw success, I mean, he loved it, but he also was kind of disappointed. I would be on sales calls with him and we'd present this big 8-foot display to a customer. And if they'd say, okay, I'll take it, you could almost see the disappointment in his face. But when they would say, you know what, I just don't know if I want that or not, then the lights would go on and game on, like the challenge was posed. So just kind of stay in the course, doing what you know. Persevere.
Now, I think that there are some people might argue this, but all of our records state that Mueller started in our building, actually, here in downtown Prairie Dancing, in the basement. So the top was like what was it called now? Schneller's? No. But it was like a general store on top. And then that his dad ran. And then
I don't know if it was it Mueller Drugs, but then there was a
yes. Yeah, that time it was Mueller. Yeah, so something else was before that. Yes, and then it was Mueller Drugs. But in the basement, like there's this giant table that the stories say is like where like some of the products were getting mixed down there, and like, so that was like in the 60s or whatever. And I go in our basement. I try not to because it's a creepy basement, but I can't imagine how, like, working down there. And it was like just fine. And I can like tell that just from like imagining that, like the work ethic, like he was like, yep, I'm doing this. I'm passionate about it. I'm going to move forward. And then I don't think it was long after that it really did take off, and then the rest is history. So
correct. Yeah, he was the intention was to take over the pharmacy. His dad was a pharmacist and he was a pharmacist, but then he realized, two people trying to get an income out of the same business, his dad, and providing for his mom and Kurt and his family, it kind of didn't work, and he really had the passion, saw the gap for the sports medicine world, so he went off on that kind of path.
That's so cool. All right, my last question today. I do feel like you are always really good at finding the silver lining and being positive and just keeping a good energy, and so I appreciate that, and I think that's probably why so many people adore you and want to be around you. But so finding that silver lining, what's been the best thing about this year that you've learned through COVID, but then what has been the hardest? So maybe start what the hardest thing has been, but then what has been the best thing?
The hardest thing is realizing that I really am a social person, so I crave that interaction, and not so much, and you can get some of it via video calls or FaceTime, but just the personal interaction, being immersed with people, like that was a big thing. So just either collaborating at work or being in touch with friends. So that was a big thing. That was, I think, the hardest, which I didn't realize exactly how social I was and how entrenched I am in that kind of atmosphere, and it really makes me happy. The silver lining was just able to slow down and take things, just step back and take a look and not be so crazy busy, because that's the way we are and we thrive in our family. But, especially when we were in quarantine, the kids would pick a meal for one night each week, and they would make it, and just enjoying time together. So that was definitely the silver lining, because those are opportunities that soon will be gone. So be able to take advantage of that was awesome.
Do you think, so you're working from home one day a week, you mentioned to me before we started recording. Do you think that there are things within Mueller that will change forever with how things go, or do you think when everything is safe again, it'll be business as usual?
I think it might, a few things will change. Of course, the video meetings are really handy, especially for outside salespeople, and just connecting with some of our customers that way. It's just an easier way to be able to communicate rather than set up a meeting and have to travel there. I mean, I have a sales meeting next week that will be virtual, in which I can be presenting to 25 people. So that's awesome. But Mueller is a company where they do like, and this is, Kurt and Brett, they like the collaboration. They like being able to have the big meetings where you have the think tank and just kind of the brainstorming sessions. And so, that way we'll still stay the same. And that's kind of how Mueller thrives, just bouncing ideas off of each other in person. So,
yeah, well, cool. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. And is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been great chatting with you. Look forward to seeing you again in the future soon.
Maybe, thank you.
I don't know. Some more dancing, more singing. Who knows? We'll see.
Who does know?
Cheers. Have a great day.
Cheers, you too.